delighted to be joined today by Paul Anderson, Managing Director of Meiko UK, who is here to shed some light on trends in the warewashing sector and talk a little bit about some of the innovation and best practice that that can really occur in this vital part of the kitchen. So welcome, Paul. Good to see you. Just to kick things off, it would be great if you could start by giving us some insight into really what is the value of the right warewashing setup in a commercial kitchen today.
Wow. Thank you, Andrew. Thanks for inviting me. Because the value of a commercial warewashing system in any business is, well, it is invaluable. It provides it's a superb piece of equipment that is there, it's needed, it does a job, it has a purpose. No one wants to eat off a dirty plate. Everything needs to be cleaned. It's critically important. Years ago, you would wash by hand. You would have hot sinks, sterilizing sinks, etc. No, it's super important to get it right. And actually, a machine uses much less water than it does if you wash by hand. It's an automated process. It's controlled. It gives the operator a tool, and it suits the job. Yeah, it's proper.
How much evolution has there been in Meiko's product range, in the last year or so? What can you tell us about some of the developments there?
From a Meiko point of view, we have actually looked at our product range very, very closely. I mean, about a year and a half ago, we had 3 product ranges. We had the Upster, we had the FEJ range, and then we had the Meiko. So we've got sort of 2-3 different levels. In terms of evolution, we always want to better ourselves. So we looked at the products and we thought, how can we better ourselves? And actually, the Upster technology that was based on the old Echo range, in our view, was old technology. And we're a company that wants to move forward. So what we decided to do was to actually drop that product and concentrate on 2. And what we've done, we've actually then looked at the new Upster, which is the FEJ range, rebadged, and the Meiko as 2 offerings. So you've got a super premium range, and you've actually got a fantastic range in the Upster that's available at a lower price point. So we've increased the gap for 2 product ranges, but it makes it more accessible to the market. So from an evolution point of view, I think that's a fantastic offer.
Sure. And what sort of reception have you had from the marketplace to that since you announced that launch?
We had a fantastic reception at HRC, and then literally a week and a half later, it was converted into a hospital. So, our launch was brilliant for the 3 days that we had. And of course, our industry has been affected by another. So, we're now in a position where we've actually probably got to almost relaunch it. So we've got some good documentation to back it up. We've had some good webinars linked into Germany to explain the difference between the old Upster and the new Upster. And initially the launch has been accepted very, very well. But I think we just haven't had the momentum to carry it through. So we are going to push that through. Of course, you could consider, Andrew, when is best to do that at this time. And I think in a matter of a week or so, you'll see some changes. Yeah.
Okay. Choosing the right warewashing setup, the right warewashing equipment can obviously be quite a big decision for operators to make, particularly if they're looking for a solution to roll out across multiple sites. What would you say customers really need to give most consideration to when making the decision?
Well, I think what customers used to give consideration to might be different to now what they want to be considered. Before it was about what you wanted to wash, how you wanted to wash it, how much you have to wash, what's the given space that you can wash it in. You can't fit a square peg in a round hole. Now I think the consideration may be something different. I mean, guidelines are changing from a sanitization point of view and a hygiene point of view, that they want to ensure that what is washed is properly washed and safe to touch. So if you're looking at a volume and you're looking at a rollout, then of course the right product for the right price with the right support could be considered, more so in the future. The right backup, the right service backup, that's critical as well. So, you've got to have the right machine to do the right job. We wouldn't want to over-specify a machine, and thereafter we wouldn't actually want to put one in that's lower in specification. So it has to be an equal balance. And I think going forward, I think all those aspects will be considered.
Okay, and just to take that on another level, when you look at the marketplace, what do you think is the easiest or most common mistake that operators perhaps make when choosing or specifying warewashing equipment?
That's putting the finger right on me for that one. A common mistake. You know, if someone makes a mistake, then you have to ask, did they have the right information in the first place? You know, did they make a judgment based on what they thought they knew? So you've got to ask yourself, you know, have they had all the facts first to make a concentrated decision? So, you know, sometimes maybe people will say, well, they just bought on price. Well, perhaps an operator, that's all they can do. They have a budget to meet, and you've got to give considered advice of a product that will meet that budget, but only if it can meet that budget. You know, make the decision based on long term. Is there going to be a return on savings? Is it energy efficient? Is it going to use less water? Is it going to use less chemicals? You know, all these considered options. So it's not necessarily a mistake. I think sometimes we have to listen more to our clients to make sure we can match up with the best product and ensure that we're giving them the best advice to make that decision. And if we don't have that product to support that decision, it's not necessarily a mistake.
Sure, yeah. And when it comes to energy efficiency, Meiko is one of the brands that has really invested heavily in advances there over the last few years, and it's probably fair to say that the latest generation of machines are among the most efficient that have ever been created. Then you balance that with the fact that the marketplace for warewashing isn't as regulated from an energy performance standpoint as say refrigeration. What would your advice be to operators that are looking to source the most efficient machine?
Well, I think you're quite right. There isn't actually a standard that you could benchmark machines against one another in terms of like the energy technology list with refrigeration, which is super simple because it's left on all the time. You know, what state is the plate to clean it? I mean, you all these different steps would have to be equal for testing, and it's near on impossible. So for an operator to make a decision, I think, as a manufacturer, we're all the same. We're all clear in our facts in terms of water usage, energy usage, chemical usage. And I think if you have that information and it can be compared to another, of which we are being compared to another, then the operator can make their own thoughts against it and make a decision. We as a manufacturer, we're completely straight up and true in terms of what it does, and we base everything on 100% usage per hour. And I think if you can do that and it's comparable, that's fine. That's what you need to offer.
You talked about service earlier as well, and that's obviously an incredibly important aspect of a machine that's being used, hour after hour, day in, day out. Meiko several years ago created a no bills guarantee package that I know is very, very popular with a lot of your customers. Why is that kind of solution important versus, say, a reactive approach to repairing or trying to solve warewashing problems?
I think when it was considered, it was before I started. It was a great system put in place by Bill, actually, to be honest, Bill and Dave Kemp, our technical services director. It gave operators a peace of mind in terms of a total figure, and operators look at OPEX and CAPEX against their purchases. As an outright purchase, is it service led? And you could look at preventive maintenance as well, which may be a little bit less in terms of cost. But if you can actually then allocate this to your business over a 5-year period or a 3-year period, and you've got total peace of mind, of course, less operator abuse. We don't want anybody kicking in a door or standing on the top of each light bulb. Those type of factors don't come into consideration. It's a peace of mind offer, and actually, when you look at it broken down over 3 or 5 years, it's a really good cover package, and it has been used a lot. An awful lot, so much so that we carry it on going forward. So yeah.
Okay, and just as a last point to end on, we touched on the fact you've got a very large R&D department that are always looking at new developments and so on. I just wondered what you felt the future held for warewashing equipment. Are we on the cusp of seeing any fundamental changes to warewashing design, and can you steer operators towards what the future might look like?
God, if I could get access to our R&D department, I'd be a very, very lucky man. The future of warewashing, I think the future of warewashing is possibly going to change. And I hate to mention again what we're going through, but I think it will be from a more hygienic point of view and a certification point of view and a comfort point of view and a safety point of view for the operator. And I think if we can then try and look at additional factors of energy saving, you know, even less water used, you know, less chemical used. I mean, someone asked me 2 years ago, when are you going to design a dishwasher that doesn't use water? Who knows? I mean, you know, what a wonderful thing to consider, but is it possible? I don't know. I mean, we have a lot of things in place, green eye technology. We also specialize in an area called ergonomics, the correct use of the machines. So, you know, designing an area to be more efficient. So I think going forward, all those factors will take place. I couldn't give you all the answers, Andrew, because if I did, they'd probably come down and jump on me, you know. It's R&D, it's meant to be secret, you know, so they'll tell me when they know, yeah.